Hey everyone, welcome to NimsTUT, the tutorial show where we teach you how to build something awesome in Minecraft. Today we'll be looking at something made popular by a very famous YouTuber, Etho. You can find him over on his channel, Etho's Lab. This is the Death Games. The concept is that a group of players on a server elect to participate in the Death Games. At random, a number of those players' names will appear in this chest. If your name comes up, you can then be hunted by anyone else in the Death Games. If they kill you while your name is up, you must pay them a diamond. If you kill them while defending yourself, they must pay you. Those names must appear completely randomly in the chest and be rotated out regularly to maintain fairness. And that's what this redstone design we're building today is designed to do. In step 1, we'll be adding the death chest. This is the chest players can check to see who is currently being hunted. To do that, we'll need to place a junk block, then a dropper, and make sure it is a dropper and not a dispenser facing upwards. Then do another dropper facing forwards. I'm able to place that by holding shift. Then a hopper feeding into that bottom dropper, and then a chest on top of that hopper. Then just destroy that junk block and you're good to go. In step 2, we'll be adding the monostable name removal system. This will be responsible for removing the players' names out of the chest. To do that, we're going to place a solid block, one block under and one block to the right of the hopper. Place a redstone torch on the side of that block directly underneath that hopper. Then we need to add a comparator feeding into that block, then a piece of redstone to the side of the comparator, then a solid block, then a redstone repeater set to a 4-tick delay for every name that you have appearing inside the chest. So in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to add and remove 5 names. So we're going to have 5 repeaters, each one set to a 4-tick delay. Then we need to wire the back of this comparator up to the back of this repeater chain, and that'll be it for step 2. In the next step, we'll be adding Etho's hopper timer, which is responsible for telling the machine when it's time to add and remove names, as well as adding a bit of randomness to when the names are changed. So to build this, we're going to place a repeater with a comparator into the back of that repeater, then a comparator into the side of that first comparator, which is set to subtract mode. Then we need to place a chest, which has one stackable to 64 item in it. Then we need to place 2 droppers facing each other like so. In one of those hoppers, we need to place an item that can stack only by itself, and then we need to add a couple of items that can stack to 64. This will give us our odds, and I'll teach you how to change that here a little bit later. Then we need to add 2 sticky pistons facing each other with a 2-block gap, a redstone block, a bit of redstone, a solid block, comparator, repeat this for the other side, comparator, solid block, and then a bit of redstone. And then we need to place a couple of hoppers facing each other, and I'm able to place these by holding shift. And then we need to fill up one of those hoppers with 5 stacks of stackable to 64 item. Step 4 has us building the name addition system. So to do that, we're going to place a few blocks here, 3 blocks on top of those repeaters to be done while holding shift. Then redstone on top of those blocks. Then a block here with a repeater set to a 1-tick delay, a sticky piston facing up with a solid block on top, then add some blocks here, a redstone repeater into the back of that dropper, then a redstone repeater facing forward out of that block, and that'll get 1 name added to the chest. Now if you wanted to add a bit of redstone in between those repeaters would probably be nice. If you wanted to add more names to the chest, then what you would do is you would come forward a little bit, and then you would have a 2 blocks out like so with another solid block, and then this shape here like a little 3x3 square. Then you need to add a redstone repeater to a 4-tick delay, and then a repeater here set to a 2-tick delay for the second name. And then you could continue adding these outwards. So for every name you want to add, there's a repeater set to a 4-tick delay, and this will be the third name, so we need a 3-tick delay. and then another bit of redstone, etc., etc., till the total number of names that you would like to add. And also a suggestion that you could do as well, you could add some blocks out like this, and then have some sticky pistons, and this way you could quickly and easily change how many names you have added. So right now this would be a 1, and then I could quickly and easily add a second name, third name, just a suggestion when you are building this. In step 5, we'll be adding the player forced name removal. This is great if you have a player that sees their name in the death chest and wishes to remove it, or if the player has already been hunted and killed. He should not be consecutively hunted by multiple people, so then you should also remove his name. So what you're going to do is you're going to place a repeater facing into this solid block with the torch off the side, and then really from there you can add just a button press anywhere that you want. So for example, and it doesn't need to be done exactly this way, I'm going to add my button here. So we've got the sticky piston, and I need to grab a redstone block. And so now when we push this button here, and multiple button presses may be required, whenever we push this button, it'll shut off that torch, which will allow the hopper to clear the chest of all names inside. Next, we're going to explore how this thing works and how you can add on to it or change the variables inside of it. First, we need to add our names, and instead of using a bunch of named items, I'm going to use a bunch of different items, so it is much easier to visualize. So this currently will support up to 18 people, so 9 in this bottom dropper and then 9 in this upper hopper. If you wish to add more players, what you'll need to do is, let's add some blocks here, then you need to add a dropper facing inwards like so, and each dropper that you add will support an additional 9 players. Then off the back of those, so this would be the first, then 1, 2, 3. So every third dropper, you need to place a repeater facing in like this. Then we just need to take this train of hoppers and move it back to the side, and you'll need to adjust that one as well. Then let's look at the rates at how often it is changed, or how often the names inside the chest is changed. So this first, we put in 5 stacks, and 5 stacks is roughly equivalent to 7.5 minutes. Essentially, you can think that for every one item that stacks, or for every one item, it adds 1.4 seconds. So if you would like this to count to 5 minutes, you would add enough items, again, each item equaling 1.4 seconds to total up to 5 minutes. If you wanted to check faster or slower than that, the max that it can do is to roll the randomizer every 7.5 minutes. So let's look next at how we randomize our chances of changing the name inside the chest. So in here we have a couple of stackable items and a sword. Well, the stackable items will be subtracted against the single stackable item inside the chest, so they won't ever have any output. Whereas the sword is 1 out of 1, so it is 100% of a stack, so it will have an output, which is immediately picked up by this repeater, which updates the whole machine. If you want this to happen at higher or lower odds, you would add more swords in comparison to the stackable items. And if you want lower odds of the names being changed, see, it just selected a sword, so everything's getting updated. And if you want it to happen at lower odds, you would add more stackable items. So here, that would give us roughly, we've got a sword in here, so this will give us 7 to 4 odds that a name change will happen, or a hunted change will happen. And I believe that's it for this tutorial. I don't think I've forgotten anything. If I have, I'll be sure to include it in the description below, or you can ask in the comments and hopefully another tutor will help you out. Thanks for watching this tutorial on Etho's Death Games, everybody. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. This has been NimsTUT, and hopefully it didn't stink. We'll see you next time.